Good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending upon the time of day for you. Thank you for taking the time to spend a few minutes with me. I hope you find the experience entertaining as well as educational. Before I begin, let me tell you a little about myself. Now, when I give speeches, this part is usually done by another person who's introducing me. So you'll pardon me if this sounds a bit pretentious, but my advisors have told me this is what I should say. My name is Jhon. I'm a speaker, seminar workshop facilitator, and senior global executive management leadership consultant. I have over 4 decades of experience with organizations ranging in size from a few hundred employees to hundreds of thousands worldwide. My clients include Honda, Toyota, General Motors, the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company, Royal Dutch Shell, Australian Teleservices Association, IBM, Lockheed Martin, ESI International, Computer Task Group, and numerous small and mid-sized enterprises. My industry experience is extensive. It includes automotive, financial services, oil and gas, healthcare, employee benefits, mortgage banking, manufacturing, distribution, construction, real estate, insurance, and others. My consulting engagements, which were predominantly initiated by client referrals, have taken me throughout North America and Asia Pacific, including Australia, Japan, the Philippines, Singapore, and they've involved vendor negotiations, management of client employees, consultants, and offshore resources. I'm a certified project management professional, former director of the Orange County, California, U.S. chapter of the Independent Computer Consultants Association, and author of Using Information as a Resource, published in Mortgage Banking Magazine, and Living with a Fastidiot, the Executive's Guide to Computers, used by Arthur Andersen and Company's introductory course on computers. I created and conducted a seminar workshop, How to Select and Install Information Technology, a Management Perspective, for the International Foundation of Employee Benefit Plans Automation Institute in Palm Springs, California in the U.S., and a workshop entitled How to Implement an E-Strategy for the Australian Teleservices Association in Sydney, Australia. It delivered real-life strategies and the pitfalls of e-strategy implementation for this organization whose members are contact center managers and team members. The workshop included web integration techniques and department organization strategies. I also developed and addressed a speech to high school students titled, What's Your Dream? At the De La Salle College of St. Benilde's Choose IT, Discover and Learn Your Future conference in Manila in the Philippines. I'm listed in Who's Who in the World, Who's Who in America, Who's Who in Finance and Industry, Who's Who in Finance and Business, Who's Who in Emerging Leaders in America, and Who's Who in the West. This speech is part of what I call Fall's Inspirational Kickoff Speeches, a collection of 5 short inspirational speeches designed to kick off an annual planning meeting, team building event, corporate reorganization introduction, or any meeting that could use a refreshing start. This speech is called Do You Know Who You Are? The other speeches in the collection are The Mirror Test, It's Not About You, You Don't Have to Be Famous, and It's Never Too Late. Do you know who you are? I don't mean your name, unless you're in one of the stages of Alzheimer's or had a little too much to drink before you came here today. You can probably remember that. And I don't mean for the answer to be the same as a philosopher or playwright might come up with, like Descartes' I think, therefore I am, or Shakespeare's to be or not to be, that is the question, and similar expressions. And I also don't mean for the answer to be the same as if a psychiatrist or psychologist had asked you, where the answer is often husband or wife, father or mother, son or daughter. I mean from a business perspective, from a career perspective. Do you know who you are? Not just your title, whether it's chef, concert pianist, custodial engineer, customer service representative, manager, director, vice president, or even CEO. But do you know who you think you are? How you project yourself? How you think others see you and how they really see you? If you're not able to answer these critical questions, you probably not only don't know who you are, but you are also most likely not where you thought you'd be in your career by now. Because if you don't know who you are, others, especially your managers who can promote you to a better position, are probably wondering the same thing. Who are you? What's next for you? Let me tell you a little about who I am and who I've been. Later, I'll tell you a story about an executive who forgot who he was, but was lucky enough to be reminded in time for him to put back the pieces of his faltering career. That story is called You Forgot Who You Are, and it's from my latest book, And Then There Were Stories, Lessons from a Lifetime of Leadership. The book is available on Amazon.com in both print and electronic Kindle versions. I started my career decades ago, right out of college, as a technical systems engineer working for IBM. I worked there for a while and then left to become a technical consultant working with development engineers. Later, I worked still technical with small to medium-sized enterprises developing and supporting their business IT applications. I know enough about myself, partially because I worked with other people who were really talented technically, to know that I was never going to invent anything like what Bill Gates did at Microsoft or Steve Jobs did at Apple. But I enjoyed the work for a long time and made a good living out of it. But as I grew older, I more and more had that gnawing feeling many of us get when we know we're missing something. I was still fairly happy with my technical work, but I'd begun several forays into management, first as a technical leader and then as a project manager for technical development, which made me yearn for more leadership. I was always an avid reader, so to learn more during my transition into management and leadership, I changed my reading choices away from technical books and towards books on management and leadership. But what really helped propel me in my career was that I had the good fortune to work with some outstanding leaders, men and women who I respected and who respected me, so I was able to learn a lot about leadership from them. One of the suggestions they gave me was to develop some seminars. They said that everyone enjoyed my stories, which I've used most of my life to get across ideas to people, and that I should think about giving some seminars. I thought that was a great idea and had the chance to create and conduct a seminar workshop, How to Select and Install Information Technology, a Management Perspective, for the International Foundation of Employee Benefit Plans Automation Institute in Palm Springs, California in the U.S. That seminar, in addition to the fulfillment it gave me, also brought some new business helping organizations select and install information technology. And it helped to strengthen my decision to move away from technical consulting. Shortly afterwards, in the late 1990s, I took advantage of the turbulence in information technology because of the year 2000 crisis, sometimes referred to as Y2K, because K is a symbol used by computer people to mean approximately 1000. And I decided to complete my redefinition of who I was from technical to leadership. I decided to also change the nature of my business away from small to medium-sized enterprises and focus instead on large global corporations. I found the largest year 2000 Y2K engagement I could find in the US with the Goodyear Tire and Rubber Company headquartered in Akron, Ohio. It was a huge contract, over 130 million US dollars, and I ran a major portion of it that included the largest plants throughout the United States. I followed this with a contract in Melbourne and Sydney, Australia that included a seminar I developed and presented titled How to Implement an E-Strategy that delivered real-life strategies and the pitfalls of E-strategy implementation for this organization whose members are contact center managers and team members. The seminar included web integration techniques